Competition. This is where the country's most promising volleyball talents rise to the challenge and chase their dreams 1 point at a time. We welcome everybody to the opening day of our National Developmental Sports League Volleyball Series. And I'm sure everybody had a good time watching our past 2 games. And I'm sure everybody's excited to watch our next game. Pero syempre, meron tayong opening ceremonies for everybody. And to begin our program, we invite everybody to stand up. Please rise for our opening prayer, followed by our national anthem. Once again, I'm inviting everybody to stand up. Please rise and for our opening prayer and national anthem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Again, a pleasant afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for coming here in our Met Park Sports Center once again for the opening day of our National Developmental Sports League Volleyball Series. And again, I'm sure everybody's excited to tune in to our final match for today. Pero syempre, what better way to open our opening ceremonies with an opening message coming from the one and only Commissioner of our men's volleyball division. That is Sir JV Sumagaysay. May I call on Sir JV once again for an opening prayer, and let us give him a warm round of applause.
And first of all, congratulations dun sa teams na nanalo kanina. Then, syempre, pasalamat sa bumubuo ng NDSL. Mga sponsors, Met Park, Don Benitos, Spalding, Fin Cotton, Nudge Productions, Dave's Movement, and Sophie Aesthetic. Siguro ito yung umpisa para sa panibagong exposure pa para sa men's and women's volleyball dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya National Developmental Sports League, and mas marami pa tayong matutulungan na bata na mas mabuksan pa yung opportunity para sa kanila. So yun, nagpapasalamat ako sa mga coaches na pinaunlakan yung invitation namin. So, ayun, maraming salamat and good luck po sa mga games pa na darating.
Thank you very much, Sir JV Sumagaysay. Once again, he is our commissioner for the NDSL Volleyball Men's Division. And of course, meron din tayong inspirational message, of course, to enlighten our athletes and to make them to play harder. First and foremost, meron po tayong special guest from Proline Sports, their Vice President. May I call on Miss Andrea D. Buncho for an opening and inspirational message.
Hello everyone, I am Andrea De Buncho from Spalding. Thank you for having us here today to partake in this prestigious league. To us, volleyball is more than just a game. It's part of Spalding's history. Spalding made the first volleyball in 1895 after the game was invented by William G. Morgan by incorporating elements of basketball, tennis, badminton, and handball. For the years to follow, Filipinos introduced the three-hit game, wherein the ball has to be turned over to the other side of the net after 3 hits. Then after, the introduction of the concept, spike, made by the Filipinos. Clearly, Filipinos love volleyball and have a deep history with the sport. Spalding hopes you continue to develop and strive for excellence in this sport we love through this league as the platform. Remember to have fun and embrace the spirit of friendly competition. Win or lose, at the end of the day, we're all here because we love volleyball. Thank you so much and good luck, everyone.
Thank you very much, Miss Andrea D. Buncho, for that very inspiring and motivating message. And now we shall proceed to another special guest, of course, another inspirational message in store for everybody here. May I call on Nudge Plus and NDSL Managing Director, the one and only Mr. Nori Uy. Palakpakan po tayo.
Thank you, everybody. First of all, would like to thank all the teams. Short notice, I know, pero we would like to thank everybody who joined this inaugural series. Of course, our constant partners in Spalding, Sir Joven, Miss Andrea, thank you for continuously supporting me in whatever I do. And I hope that this will continue beyond my imagination. Of course, Don Benitos, salamat na marami. What else? Fin Cotton, sayang lang kasi si Paul did not make it dito sa ating opening ceremonies. But then again, to all our partners, Diag Movement, Fresh Cakes, thank you for joining us in this endeavor. And again, as you know, just like what JV said earlier, the goal of NDSL NDSL is to become a premier developmental tournament in the country. Just to share with you, hindi namin sinimulan yung NDSL without having a conversation with PVL and Spikers Turf. So I've spoken to Sherwin Malonzo about this. We've discussed on how we can augment the programs of NDSL into becoming a lower division para in preparation for your future growth as an athlete. So again, thank you hindi pa man natatapos yung inaugural series natin, but I'd like to already invite you to have your commitment in our upcoming seasons para sa ganon, sama-sama tayong palakihin yung NDSL. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Again, that is Mr. Nori Uy, Nudge Plus and NDSL Managing Director, for a very fruitful message. And with that, those are our inspirational messages for our athletes, of course, again, to inspire them to play harder as we're waiting for our last game of the day. Pero syempre naman, it doesn't end there. We have a surprise for everybody here in the Met Park Sports Center, as we'll be having a guest artist. Of course, she will be serenading us today in our Met Park Sports Center, and let us introduce her right now, as it is our honor to welcome a truly remarkable young talent, a powerhouse performer whose voice has captured hearts across the nation, a powerful singer, songwriter, a recording artist, and was proudly recognized as the youngest air singer in the Philippines. She is the best new female artist at the prestigious Aliw Awards 2024 and was also named Pop Indie Artist of the Year at the 8th P-Pop Awards. She's graced the stage of Idol Philippines Season 2 and of course made her mark as a Golden Buzzer recipient and grand finalist in the Philippines Got Talent, proving she's not just a voice but a force to be reckoned with. Get ready to be amazed and inspired. Please welcome the sensational Miss S.I. Kirsten. Once again, a round of applause for the sensational Miss S.I. Kirsten.
So, check. Thank you so much, Kuya. Hope you guys enjoy this song. Thank you so much. Check, check. This is a song from Google Dolls. Hope you guys enjoy this one. And I give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go right now. All I can taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. Well, sooner or later it's over. I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. Mamaya, good luck sa games nyo. May meron ba diyang gustong sumayaw? And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, or the moment true in your eyes. When feels like the movies. Yeah, you bleed just to know your life. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they understand. When happiness makes to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. 'Cause I just want you to know who I am. 'Cause I just want you to know who I And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they understand. When happiness made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they understand. When happiness made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. Thank you so much. Gusto ko yung mga volleyball players. May mga dancers po ba dyan? Kanina po kayo nakikita. Marunong sumayaw dyan, sa kabilang booth. Dyan. Sino bang pwedeng hilain dyan? Alright. Mamaya manghihila po ako dyan. So, pwede ba kayong dito sa gitna? Pwede ba? Ayan. Sige. Mamaya. Sound check. Sound check. Give me a touch, baby. I gotta tell you something about myself. You're wonderful, flawless, oh, you sexy lady. Come on. But you walk around it like you wanna be someone else. Oh, whoa. I know that you don't know it, but you're fine, so fine. Alam mo yung mag-backdive na dyan. Oh, girl, I wanna show you, but you're mine, oh, mine. Woo! Come on. Treasure, that is what you are. Magpapatalo ba dyan? You're my golden star. You can make my wish come true. If you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure. Oh. Ayan eh. Isang group. Pretty girl, you should be smiling. Woo! A girl like you should never feel so blue. You're everything I see in my dreams. Wouldn't say that to you if it wasn't true. Come on. Oh, I know that you know me, but you find so fine, find so fine. Whoa, I know that you know it, but you're mine, oh mine. Whoa, treasure, that is what you want. Honey, you're my golden star. And if you can make my wish If you let me treasure you, if you let me treasure, oh, oh, oh. You're my treasure, you're my treasure, you're my treasure. You are my treasure, you are my treasure. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause honey, you're my golden star, and if you make my wish come true. 'Cause if you let me treasure you, 'cause if you let me treasure, oh, oh, oh. Thank you so much po. Once again, my name is Esai. Enjoy your games, everybody. Good luck.
All right, once again, a round of applause for the sensational Miss S.I. Kirsten. All right, thank you very much for a very lively performance. And syempre, mukhang nagustuhan naman ng ating players, of course, the Ravens and the LETRAN Lady Knights. I'm sure everybody's excited for this women's division clash. And speaking of women's division, meron tayong closing remarks from none other than our commissioner of the women's division. Please welcome and give a round of applause to Miss Joy Dacoron.
Hello everyone! Thank you at nakaabot pa rin ako. Galing ako sa training and I'm so proud sa lahat na sumali, mga nag-organize, mga coaches, mga sponsors, and to everyone. This is just the beginning. Kaya sabay-sabay po tayong gumawa ng volleyball history natin dito sa Pilipinas. Thank you all for coming and welcome to NDSL Volleyball Series. This is just the beginning, and to everyone na nasa online ngayon, we are on Facebook Live and YouTube. And punta po kayo dito sa Met Park, and we are blessed to be here in Met Park Sports Center. Maraming salamat po. Enjoy the next game.
Once again, a round of applause for our commissioner of the women's division. That is Miss Joy Dacoron. And with that, we officially consider the National Developmental Sports League Volleyball Series open. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'm sure everybody is excited to witness the clash. Once again, our last game of our opening day, featuring the LETRAN Lady Knights and Team Ravens. Once again, that is all, and thank you very much. Today marks the beginning of a journey filled with passion, growth, and high-level volleyball competition. Welcoming you live from the Met Park Sports Center in the heart of Pasay City, this is the opening day of the National Developmental Sports League Volleyball Series. And up next, our last match of the day. It'll feature the LETRAN Lady Knights and a club team in the Ravens. So better stay tuned for that one.
We're down to our final matchup here in the NDSL Volleyball Series. It's going to be a showdown between the NCAA LETRAN Knights and the new team Ravens.
At syempre, bago ko kalimutan, I'm Cholo Pangilinan covering the action with the one and only, kanino ko pa sinasabi, LPU Lady Pirates Open Spiker Faith De Guzman. So Faith, sabi mo nga kanina, LETRAN, na-mention mo na, pag-usapan na natin itong LETRAN, a participant in the NCAA. What do you think can we expect from them?
We're expecting rookies and sophomores playing here in this league, and you can expect them to control the pace in this match.
And on the other side, itong Ravens, a while ago we had a chance to, see the players. Medyo wala kang nakilala. Merong ilan, pero I think that's the summary of their team. Hindi talaga mga kilalang players, pero for sure, kita natin kanina Team Leon, even though it was a club team, may mabubugo yan. So, hindi rin imposible na ganun ang case para sa ating Team Ravens.
Yes, this may be a new team to the scene, but they are hungry to prove themselves and ready to challenge even the most seasoned squads.
And that is gonna be the challenge for Team Ravens. But for now, bibigyan natin ng spotlight kay Andrea Veloso for a pre-game report.
Cholo and Faith, katulad nga ng Ateneo kanina, the lineup of the LETRAN Knights are composed of rookies and sophomore dahil ang habol nga ni Coach Oliver ay yung good exposure at syempre yung opportunity for his young players to compete on a much higher level. Meanwhile, for the Ravens, most of their players came from World City College, but just like the LETRAN Knights, they are also rookies and sophomore. But the edge of this team is they have former pro players, Veru Chao, Melgar, and Miralles, and Coach Andy believes they can help him lead this young team. When we come back, LETRAN versus Ravens, this is NDSL, the Volleyball Series.
All right, once again, the last match for our opening day here in the NDSL Volleyball Series. It's between an NCAA caliber team in the LETRAN Lady Knights and an up-and-coming new face, Team Ravens. And of course, competing in the NCAA means something. So that's gonna be the main challenge. Itong Ravens, yung kakaharap nila, of course, as we all know, iba talaga yung dating kapag ang kalaban mo isang collegiate or professional team. Kahit sabihin na natin lagi ka nagpo-volleyball, iba talaga pag yung kalaban mo may sistema, first and foremost, may talent, at syempre, seasoned veterans na yung mga yan.
Yes, pero sa side naman ng ating Ravens, they have nothing to lose. Mapakita nila ang kanilang best for their first match.
All right, let's listen to our starting 7 for both teams. As first, we're seeing them do the sportsmanship handshake or high five. So taking a look at the roster nitong LETRAN, the youngest player on the roster is born 2006. There's 3 of them. No, I'm sorry, it's 2007 with Syra Celorio. And I'm pretty sure that's the sister of former LETRAN squire, Cyrex Celorio.
Jersey number 7, Isel Martin. Jersey number 8, Princess Zain Tumayaw. The middle blocker, Marjorie Napal, jersey number 20. Jersey number 27, Jorlyn Panangin. Jersey number 28, Verinice Colendra. Jersey number 29, Yonlin Padilla. And our starting libero is Marbe Allen Enverga. Our head coach, Oliver Almadro. For the Ravens, jersey number 6, Liam Rain Lenguaje. Jersey number 8, Bridget Martinez. Jersey number 16, Christine Miralles. Jersey number 18, Renessa Melgar. Jersey number 19, Eloisa May Balmedina. And our starting libero, jersey number 15, Carla Concepcion. Our head coach, Andy Fian. Jersey number 10, Sarah Gomsha.
So starting for the Letran Lady Knights, it's Nizelle Martin, Princess Tumayaw, Marjorie Napal, Marby Enverga, Joraline Panangin, Verenice Colendra, and Leonilyn Padilla. And for the Ravens, it's Liam Lenguaje, Bridget Martinez, Sara Verujao, Carla Concepcion, Christine Miralles, Renessa Melgar, and Eloisa Balmedina. So let's see what both of these teams have in store for us.
Service out.
As first point of the game belongs to the Ravens after a service error coming from the Lady Knights.
I can see familiar faces in the Letran Knights. Martin as their first 6 for the last NCAA season 100. And let's see how is she going to handle her rookies, her sophomore teammates.
Is this the exact same lineup na nakalaban nyo last season?
No, wala daw yung mga seniors nila.
So kahit papaano medyo na-tone down.
Yes.
Score for Letran.
Right now it's all one Letran able to respond. That is Panangin serving the ball. Melgar. That was outside, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it is inside.
Point is awarded to
Oh, so it was a
Ravens.
check ball. And the Ravens getting awarded for it.
Finding the tip of the hands of Martin.
Make it 2-1 now. Strong hit from the Ravens, but too strong.
Service
As
out.
we had tied the game up at 2.
Service error from Miralles. Medyo nangangapa pa sila ngayon.
So it's Padilla right now serving, one of the youngest players in the squad. Verujao. Letran recovers. The attack by Martin. A dagger from the Letran Lady Knights.
Hit by December Martin.
Good defense of Padilla and converting it to a point. Credit to Martin. Great cross-court hit.
Meanwhile, late on the response was Panangin. So that's a point for the Ravens.
A quick attack for Balmedina. Great connection with their setter, Verujao.
Oh, great dig. Letran a chance to capitalize. But they foiled the plan. Ravens getting a point. And most of the players of this Ravens squad coming from the World City Colleges in Quezon City. A couple studying in NCAA schools, and a couple also studying in UAAP schools. So let's see if we can soon see a familiar name from the squad, perhaps in a bigger league like UAAP or NCAA. But as of now, it's 5-3, Ravens up by 5.
Letran Knights is committing 3 errors na agad.
The tap, no good at that off spin. They recover. The set, Martin tries. Not that time, the Ravens looking to recalibrate. Good defense from Letran. Vershao, oh, power tip. Won't work for the Ravens. The Lady Knights getting a point.
Down the line attack will work for Letran.
Finding that down the line hit. Coming from Colendra.
5-4, let's take another look. The double block didn't work for them. As it's 5-4, Vershao the set. The attack again. Great save. Letran still alive. Martin. Great reception that time. The Ravens try to answer back. They won't. Napal. And they get it through.
Off the block hit from Napal. With great connection with Tomayo.
We take another look. Again, Napal. A power tip. As we're all tied up at 5. Vershao, high set. The attack. But it's an error. Coming from Renessa Melgar.
Medyo off yung approach niya.
So make it 65. Great reception. Vershao, high pass. Apparently too high.
Off pass by their libero. Nahirapan mag-adjust si Martin.
7-5. 2-point lead by the Lady Knights. Make it a 1-point lead only. Service error coming from Leonilin Padilla. And now it's Bridget Martinez for the serve. She gets it through with a sharp one. The set. Martin attacks. She is denied. And play continues. The rally is alive. Martin. Napal. Quick tap. No good. Vershao sends it to the other side quickly. Martin. The tap again, but it was short.
The approach of Martin is quite awkward. Again, nahihirapan sila sa first ball. Medyo hindi nila nako-control yung mga first ball nila.
Here comes the Lady Knights. Good defense on their part. Let's see if they can turn it into offense. Napal. Martin tries again. Great reception. Rally is still alive. But there was a violation called on the Lady Knights, leading to a point for the Ravens.
First technical timeout.
Timeout called right here by the Ravens. 8-7. We'll be back for more.
Coach Oliver is looking forward to this NDSL series, seeing it as the perfect opportunity for his younger players to gain experience alongside veterans. While he knows the challenge lies in keeping his team from getting discouraged at this higher level, he reminded them to set their doubts and worries aside. We need this to grow as players and as a team. He said, for him, this series isn't just a competition, it's the starting point for building a more competitive, battle-ready squad. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for that report. And indeed, the NDSL is the perfect platform for his players to gain experience and, of course, have that winning mentality. As again, they're up against the Ravens, which is a club team. Sila naman collegiate team, so you know it, that they expect for themselves to win. Reto si Morgan, atake error.
Letran have already 5 errors in this set. Kailangan nilang i-minimize yon kasi minamaximize din ng Ravens ang kanilang errors.
And that's what you want to see if you're the Ravens, if you're the coach of the Ravens. Itong si Coach Andy Fiel. Of course, you're going up against an NCAA caliber team. Hindi madaling laban to. And if ever man nag-error sila, kailangan i-maximize nyo talaga.
4 touches for against LETRAN.
Back-to-back errors for Martin. They really have to stop the momentum of Raven.
10-7 now. Bridget Martinez with service duties once again. She sends it through. The attack. And they find a hole.
Back row attack from Colendra. Medyo wala sa posisyon yung libero ng Raven.
10-8 now on Martinez. On Martin, rather. Sends it to the other side. Vershao. Very near to the net pass. Sin. No good. They try once again, but it's too much for the Ravens.
Error for the Ravens. Let's see. Paano sila makaka-recover from this one? Lalo na, they only have one lead left.
10-9, Martin. Sends it to the other side, Vershao. Martinez. Letran now with a chance. Panangin. Pulls.
Cross court hit. Point for LETRAN.
Panangin with that answer from the open side of the court.
We have a tied game at 10. Martin and company, a chance to gain the lead. And she serves this one. Milgar with a good receive. The attack. Access denied.
Solid block by Napal. Grabe. Very established ang kanyang blockings. She is also one of the key players last NCAA.
Nahirapan ka ba kalaban siya?
Yes, mahirap sila kalaban actually.
Lahat pala sila.
Lahat sila.
As this time, Panangin once again. But Martinez and company able to recover. Letran with bad intentions. Better shout that. And the rally is alive. Oh, good defense from the Ravens with a double block.
You can see the faces of the LETRAN Knights. Medyo naguguluhan sila sa setting ng kanilang setter. And meron ata silang plano na sinasabi ni Coach O. Let's see.
All 11 now, Panangin. No good at that soft touch. Short on the tip. One more point for the Lady Knights.
Miscommunication with the setter and the open hitter of Raven.
Twelve to 11. Sharp serve. Vershao keeps it alive. And they bail it out to the other side. The set. Panangin. She pulls once again.
Long cross-court hit for Panangin. Yun yung gustong makita ni Coach O. Yun yung sinasabi niya sa setter. Setter nila kanina. Na they have a strong spiker on the outside hitter. And they also have a option para sa middle spiker nila.
And of course, you've mentioned Coach O, Coach Oliver Almadro. Kilalang coach in the volleyball scene.
Yes.
So, syempre, he holds his players to high standards. Former coach as well nung team kanina, at least yung women's team nun, which is the Ateneo Blue Eagles.
Yes. Medyo dikit yung laban natin ngayon.
Vershao. Oh, short on the tip. Panangin had a good intention.
Nahihirapan mag-adjust si Panangin. Medyo dikit yung bola sa net.
All tied up at 13. Letrán will serve once again for the Ravens. So far, so good for the Ravens, proving to be a good competitor against an NCAA caliber team. Service ace for Vershao.
Good target for Vershao, targeting that zone 8.
We take another look. Vershao finding an open spot. As she'll be serving the ball again, yet again. Over serving that time. Right now it's Hizki Flores serving for the Lady Knights. A service error.
Medyo tumataas na yung numbers ng errors sa Letran Knights. Let's see paano nila i-handle.
On the other side, it's Dagarat serving. Letran now with a chance. Panangin wasted no time, but it's out. Point goes to the Ravens. Timeout called right here, 16-14. 2-point lead for the Ravens. We go back to the action. As we're seeing on our screens, of course, Nudge Plus and Managing Director of the NDSL, Sir Nori Uy, of course, with Miss Joy Dakaran, the commissioner of our women's division here in the volleyball series. That pala ikaw din. Ulitin ko yung sinabi ko kanina. LPU, Lady Pirates, blah, 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 blah. Ang haba nun. 16-14. 2-point deficit being faced by the Lady Knights.
And the second technical timeout.
One of the strengths ngayon ng Letran Knights are their attacks. Kaso nga lang, medyo mataas yung numbers again ng kanilang errors. When it comes to Ravens naman, they have a problem with their first ball and defense.
And yan na naman tayo sa first ball. Again, to our casual fans, importante talaga ang first ball. Of course, if you want to execute something, kailangan talaga you get it, you receive it first properly. So right now, it's 17-14 in favor of the Ravens. They have one more chance after getting a point. Oh, bad reception coming from Panangin, leading to a service ace. Courtesy of Bridget Martinez. I'm sorry for Celine Dagarat. But another timeout, 18-14. Again, the Ravens on top. Back to the action here, 18-14. 4-point lead being faced by the girls of Coach Oliver Almadro. But then again, do not doubt his coaching system. Again, he's a very well-known strategist in the volleyball scene. As Colendra will try, but won't hit.
Another error for the Letran, but it was a good intention for Colendra.
Score is 19, serving
19-14. Si Linda Garat. Serving. But that's an error.
Service error, point goes to LETRAN.
So Letran gaining another point.
Much needed point from the Letran.
Look at 19-15. Panangin will be the one to serve. Strong serve, apparently too strong. Point goes to the Ravens, as they're 5 points away from set 1W.
Any point can give Ravens the momentum.
Christine Miriales. Martin attacks. And she pulls.
Check ball. Point goes to LETRAN.
(22-16). Padilla pulls through. The set by Veroshao. Melgar. No good. Napal this time. Martin. Unable to hit it. The swing. No good. As they send it to the other side, rally continues. Melgar still not falling for the Ravens. Short coming from Napal.
Goes to Ravens.
An error again for Napal.
21-16. The Ravens on top. Panangin, good reception. The attack. Oh, for a while, Melgar didn't know where the ball went. Nevertheless, a point for the Lady Knights.
It was a nice cross-court hit by Colendras. Isa siya sa tinatakbuhan ngayon ng Letran para mahabol ang Ravens.
Perhaps the focal point of their offense.
Off the ball, back-to-back
Pero yun lang,
by Colendra.
Ravens back-to-back lapses in defense. A timeout first called by Coach Andy Phil. As they're up by 3 points, we'll be back for more.
Scores 18, serving 21. On deck.
21-18, 3-point lead for the Ravens. Service ace for Colendra.
Good target for Colendra. Targeting that libero.
21-19. That time, service error favoring the Ravens.
Adding that to the lead of Ravens.
Bridget Martinez with a serving opportunity, and she pulls through. High pass. Colendra once again. But a violation, illegal attack coming from Colendra.
Kita natin yung distributions ng Letran, very limited at this point.
This time Letran with a chance to capitalize. And they do. Martin with a bomb.
Sharp cross-court hit for Martin. Meron na din katulong si Colendras.
So Martin, unfortunately, a service error immediately after hitting a point.
Martin giving that set point for the Ravens.
This time, it's Balmedina serving. Here comes Letran, another opportunity. Panangin. Access denied, says the Ravens.
Goes to the Ravens. Ravens taking on set number 1, 20.
And there you go, the Ravens taking down an NCAA caliber team in the Letran Lady Knights. We'll take another look. Apparently it was an attack error, not a block. Nevertheless, that gives the Ravens set 1 win, 25-20. And Letran again, safe to say, able to go toe-to-toe with the Ravens. But let's see if that'll be the case for the next sets, as we'll be back for more. Go back to the action here, 25-21. The Letran Lady Knights falling to the Ravens, 25-21. Again, unfortunately, committing 9 errors during that set 1.
Yes, they really have to limit their errors when it comes to service errors at attack errors. So sa Ravens naman, nalilimit nila yung errors, pero they're expecting the Letran Knights to commit an error na lang.
So if you're the Ravens, you'd take that as a positive thing. Pero what if biglang hindi na nag-error yung kalaban mo? Siyempre, kailangan meron ka ding offense na mabubuga.
Yes, kailangan nilang gumawa ng kanilang play. And they also have to focus on defense, lalo na meron tayong nakikitang attacks coming from Colendras and Martin.
And now we turn it over to Andrea Veloso for an interview.
Thank you, Cholo. I have here with me the assistant coach of Raven, Coach JV Magana. Coach JV, despite kahit nanalo kayo nung first set, nakita namin yung one of your problems is yung defense and yung first ball. How do you plan to adjust that here in the second half?
So yun, sinasabi namin lagi sa mga bata na mag-adjust kami lalo sa depensa namin kasi pag wala kaming depensa, so wala rin kaming opensa. So yun.
Sa ngayon, nasa inyo yung momentum, coach. Paano nyo ba ito dadalhin dito sa second set?
Ayun, ang plan namin is i-target lang namin yung mga open spiker nila para pag di sila maka-receive, so mapoprostrate. So ayun yung target namin.
Thank you and good luck, Coach JV. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much to Coach JV and to you, Andrea. And I think that's a very basic way to put it, you know. pag meron kang depensa, magkakaroon ka rin ng offensa for sure.
Yes, connect na sila. Tulad niyan, LETRAN Knights have first ball and they already give a 1-point attack for the LETRAN.
That's a very basic and good way to angle rather to look at. Meanwhile, the attack, that is in, courtesy of Celine Dagarat.
Very sharp hit for the Garat.
Let's take another look. All data but one. With that attack coming from the Garat. And she'll be the one to serve in this possession. That is too strong.
Too strong for the Garat.
2-1 now. LETRAN up by a single point. This time it's lastly Izar serving. Sharp one. Viroshao, the set. Good attack, recovered by LETRAN. Colendra, no good on the attack. They try, but it's a service, or rather attack error on the side of the Ravens.
You can see now the LETRAN enjoying the game, giving that energy para makuha ang second set.
Izar gets it across. Concepcion, high pass, and they bail it out. Tumayao, the set. Great dig coming from number 3, Selena. But LETRAN prevailing on that rally.
Soft tip from Colendra. Nakikita natin dito yung defense pattern ng Ravens is usually ginagamit sa pro teams wherein it is a crucial, lalo na pagdating sa libero. Kasi mahirap nga talaga kunin yun.
4-1 now. Izar gets it across again. Viroshao sets it up. Martinez attacks, and Martinez hits.
Finding that line. And also a net fault violation for the LETRAN.
So the Ravens once again with an opportunity. As they'll be serving. To get it across. That was Miralles serving. As that attack is out of bounds. So it's 4-3 now.
I can see now new face, Makilang, one of the key players again for the last NCAA Season 100.
So with how things are going, I think walang choice si Coach O but to bring out the big guns, no? Yung pangmalakasan na.
Yes, para may tumulong din para kay Colendra, para mas magandang ma-distribute ng setters yung kanilang set.
Colendra now serving, gets it across. Great reception. The attack, or a tip rather, courtesy of number 18, Renessa Milgar. Five to 4. Great receive. Tumaya with a set. The attack. That is in.
Another go-to player for Tumayaw, Makilang with that off the block hit.
Make it a 2-point lead. Another look. A great reception by the Ravens. They tried to attack, but that was too strong for Milgar.
Out of position para kay Milgar.
7-4. High pass. Great reception for the Ravens. Domingo sends it out. Sends it 2 out, apparently. And with that, a timeout is called. 8-4. 4-point lead for LETRAN, and we'll be back for more.
50% pressure, 50% excitement. That's how Bridget Martinez described the feeling of being named team captain of the Ravens. With former pro teammates around her, the role comes with big shoes to fill, but she's ready to honor the trust her coaches place in her. Earlier today during warm-ups, Bridget was the first to step up, calling the team in and setting the tone. Vocal both before and during the match, she said it's her way of keeping everyone included while maintaining a calm and positive atmosphere. Sabi niya, masarap maglaro ng volleyball kapag maaliwalas ang paligid at syempre kasama mo. Do you agree with this, Faith?
Yes, syempre mas masarap talaga kasama pag you are confident with each other or komportable sa isa't isa.
Pero syempre naman, again, na-mention natin kanina yung trabaho ng team captain, isa talagang challenge. And I'm sure, sabi mo nga kanina, hirap na hirap ka.
Yes, sobrang malaking responsibility yon kasi you have to lead the team kung paano mo siya i-control.
And of course, to some extent kasi yung team captain kailangan nandun na rin yung skill level eh. In fact, you know, most team captains, isa sila sa mga star players ng team nila.
Yes.
So star player ka? No?
Hindi.
Hindi. So 10-4 now. Letran up by 6 points. Letran very eager to come back after a set 1 loss. But just as I say that, ito si Makilang committing a service error.
But I can see now, Cho, they're controlling na their errors. They have already minimized the errors. Kasi 10-5 pa lang tayo ngayon.
Tumayaw, the set, the attack, Panangin, finding a crack on that wall.
Walang kumuha ng second ball. Medyo mababa yung defense ng libero ng Raven.
11-5. Letran up by 6 again. This time, it's Napal with a service. Violation called on Letran.
Net fault violation for Panangin.
So 11-6 now. Now. Sheena Chopitea will be the one. Sends it across. Tumayaw, the high set, the attack. And Colendra hits.
Coming from that back row hit again. Go-to player of Tumayaw. Nakikita ko dito sa Letran, medyo hindi nila ina-activate yung middle nila. More on wing sides, yung binibigyan ng setter nila.
Maybe that's one angle Coach O would like to look at. Pero yun ang magandang angulo. Christine Miralles scoring off the hit.
Dito naman sa Raven sides, running attack from Miralles. Dito nakikita ko, they're activating their middle blockers. Kasi medyo nahihirapan din yung middle blockers ng Letran habulin.
Oh, Colendra once again. That is in. Slowly but surely, itong Letran finding their footing. But this time, it's Joraline Panangin. Sending it across. Pero masyadong malakas. Right now, ball is back to Celine Dagarat for the Ravens. And she will send it across. Good reception. The attack. And that is in.
Another check ball for the Letran Knights. Grabe, ang taas din niya tumalon.
Talking about Gia Makilang. So there's 2 Makilangs actually in this roster. Martinez getting denied. No ID, no entry, says the Lady Knights.
No coverage for the Ravens. Medyo hindi sila nakakompress for the attacker.
Sharp serve that time. Running attack to Mayaw. Receives it. The set by Panangin. The attack by Makilang. That is in.
Signature move for Makilang.
Signature indeed, as we're calling a timeout right here. But first, let's take another look. Makilang just dropping the mic on that sequence. 16-8, we'll be back for more. And we go back to the action. On your screens, that's Gia Makilang again hitting a while ago. And now Letran with another chance as Leslie Isar will serve. Dapat talaga, di ko na sinasabi.
Good timeout for Raven. Technical timeout. Para makuha ulit yung momentum ng Raven.
It's 16-9 now. Slowly but surely, itong Letran lumalayo. So hopefully the Ravens rather could come back. Siyempre, ayaw mo naman din mabaon ng sobrang lalim. As of right now, it's Marini Tura serving, or had served. This time, Colendra. Good on the attack. Martinez. This time it's Letran again. Makilang with a tip. And that was too low.
You can see now the variations of Makilang. Kanina nakita natin siya nag-zone 1. Now tipping that through.
Great strategy coming from Martinez. Melgar saves it. Martinez bails it out. The set, the attack, and the score. That is Napal hitting. $18-9 now.
Full front row for the Letran Knights. Para ma-maximize lahat ng spikers for their team.
18-9. Indeed, slowly but surely Letran closing in on point 25. This time it's a ZJ Yap serving. She gets it across. And that attack is good coming from Tropitea.
Another middle activation for Ravens, for Verchao. Yun yung nagiging effective sa kanila ngayon. Ang kanilang mga middle spikers.
So let's see if the Ravens can bounce back from this big deficit. Oh, that tip by Makilang. Good defense from the Ravens. And the rally continues. This time Makilang once again denied.
They thought it was out. Miscommunication for Makilang and the libero.
Another chance for the Ravens to close in the gap. Melgar to the other side. Panangin receives it. The set, the attack by Makilang. Won't work. Martinez will try. Received by Makilang. She'll be the one to attack as well. But the rally is kept alive. Martinez setting it to nobody as point belongs to Letran.
Verchao was not able to control that second ball. Kaya nahirapan atakihin ni Martinez yung third ball.
(19-11) now. Letran holding on to that 8-point lead. Pero malapit na sila sa point 25. So let's see if they can come back in this set. As meron tayong timeout called by the Ravens. 19-11. Ravens down by 8 points. We go back to the action, 19-11. 8-point lead for the Lady Knights. Overpassing that one was the Ravens, but they keep it alive. Martinez attacks. Entry denied. But Concepcion bails it out. And very good reception. Napal. No good at the attack. Rally continues. The Ravens keep it alive. Letran now with a chance. Panangin. And it goes to Letran.
Good attack from Panangin, finding that left hand of the middle blocker of Ravens.
Another look. Check ball. 20-11 now. Chopetea scoring.
Meron talaga kailangan mag-step up ngayon sa Ravens para mahabol nila ang 8-point lead ng Letran Knights.
It's quite a big deficit. Itong Letran 5 points away from the victory in set 2. Martinez sends it home. And this time the attack. It's denied again. And the Ravens answering back in good fashion.
Good block from Ravens. Getting that confidence for that block.
Martinez, very sharp serve. Pero yun lang, out of bounds. So point will go to the Lady Knights. (21-13). Napal sends it through, but it's too much.
Service error from Napal. Let's see how will they recover from that error. Kasi kanina napansin natin sa first set, pag once na nag-error sila, nasusundan ulit ng isa pang error. Kaya nagko-compile yung numbers nila.
At syempre doon pumapasok yung concept ng being composed. You know, kahit nagkakamali ka, syempre kailangan focus ka pa rin sa game.
Yes.
And syempre, by the way, it's easier said than done. Baka isipin ng mga tao, expert ako dito. But right now, it's 22-14. Letran only 3 points away from set 2W. A timeout first by the Ravens. As they're trailing by 8 points, we'll be back after a short break. We go back to the action, 22-14. Letran up by 8 points. Again, the Ravens winning in set 1, but looks like Letran wants to take care of business in set 2. Virashao with a set. And that's Miralles again, finding a crack on that wall.
Finding that hole for the Letran Knights.
(22-15). Virashao sends it to the other side. Good reception. Tumaya with a set. And that was a denial coming from the Ravens. Skolendra tipped it softly. And Letran, great recovery. And this time, Lenguay will try. She gets denied. Concepcion overpassing it. Lenguay tipped it back. Miralles also did the same. And running out of gas was the girls of the Ravens.
Great hustle for the both teams. You can see Enverga. Grabe yung pagtapon ng katawan niya.
Talk about the hustle of this Lady Knights. There seems to be a substitution as Martin will be the one to enter the game and to serve the volleyball. The Lady Knights 2 points away from set 2 victory. Martin sends it to the other side. Oh, what happened there? Nevertheless, it's alive. The Ravens bail it out. Tumayao. No good on the tap. As a point. Oh, it's good. It goes. Letran getting a 1 point.
Second attempt for Lasty Izar.
So it's Martin once again with service duties. She gets it across. An overpass. Let's see if Letran can capitalize. Oh, the Ravens was able to dig it, but went out of bounds. So there you have it. Set 2 belongs to the Lady Knights. One set apiece for both teams. And let's take another look. Again, that attack was something else. Makilang trying or did find that open spot. And leading to that victory in this set 2. Stay tuned for our next set. Let's see who shall prevail in the next ones. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here for our next set. It's set number 3. But first, let's recall what happened in our last outings. Set 1, won by the Ravens. And then set 2, reclaimed by the Lady Knights. So for sure, this set 3 will be the equalizer. Let's see who can prevail on this one. Pero na-mention mo kanina, Faith, itong Lady Knights set 1, 9 errors committed. But for sure, a better outing in set 2.
Yes, na-limit na nila ang kanilang errors. And mas marami ngayon silang attacks. Ito namang Ravens, nahihirapan ngayon umatake dahil wala silang floor defense. Nakikita mo naman kung gaano kalalakas yung mga palo ng LETRAN Knights.
That's one thing, of course, they will have to consider, that floor defense. Siyempre, iba pa rin yung ina-anticipate mo na malakas talaga yung pababa. Unlike pag mga bailout pass, bailout turnover, siyempre iba pa rin talaga ang anticipation first and foremost. But right now, again, we're waiting for the start of our third set. And so far, the standouts for this LETRAN squad, we have the likes of Gia Makilang. Sorry, I had trouble finding her number. Medyo nalito ako sinong Makilang ba? yung nagpakitang kilas ng set 2 na yun. Of course, Jonaline Panangin and Vernice Colendra. Yan yung mga familiar names na naririnig natin kanina na talaga namang pumapalo ng sobrang lakas in favor of the LETRAN Lady Knights.
In that last set, it is well distributed by the setter ng LETRAN Knights para makapag-contribute and to get that second set.
So now, first ball belonging to the Lady Knights. Great recovery from the Ravens. Good rescue coming from Martin. But that is out of bounds. Oh, wait a minute. That is inside.
Finding that line by Makilang was a great hit.
1-0 start for LETRAN. Virasha with a set. Oh, miscommunication on their part.
An error committed by Raven. 2-0 run for the LETRAN Knights.
Tumayaw sends it across. Good reception. Melgar tries. Here comes LETRAN again. Colendra the tap. Ravens keeping it alive. Zamudio keeps it alive as well for them. Makilang, hard hit. There was a violation called on Miralles.
Net fault violation for Miralles. Nakita natin dito, tinatry na talagang i-block yung one of the key players ng LETRAN Knights.
3-0 start for LETRAN. High hit, no good for Miralles. Makilang gagante. But the Ravens keep it alive. Martin, high set, Makilang. A dagger for the LETRAN Lady Knights.
2 points for Makilang for this set.
Another look. It was a great set coming from Tumayaw. Ito namang si Makilang hindi pinahiya yung teammate niya. Seems to be a wet spot on the court. Siyempre, nandito ang ating Met Park Sports Center crew to help us make the court a safer place for our athletes to play on. As right now, it's 4-0 start in favor of LETRAN. It's Tumayaw serving the ball. And she won't rather get it across. That's the first point of this Raven squad. They get it across, but it's too strong. Service header for the Ravens.
Ravens have now 3 points of errors.
It was Liam Lenguaje serving the ball. And this time it's LETRAN Melgar, no good. Good reception by Tumayao. Zamudio with a set. The attack by Colendra. And that works for them.
Great dig by their setter, Tumayao. And the setup for the libero, Zamudio.
Take another look. Linguay was too late on that response. It's 6-1 now. So Makilang will serve. She gets it across. Another one. Service ace.
3 points for Makilang. 2 attack points and 1 service ace.
Another look. Again, that was Linguay failing to get a dig. 7-1 now. Virushao bails it out. Padilla gets ready. Not that time though. That's it for Miralles. Won't work. Martin tries. But it's too long.
Too long for Martin. Medyo off na naman yung approach niya. Nasa baba siya ng bola.
7-2 now. Service header on the side of Miralles. And we'll be back for more. It's 8-2, 6-point lead for the Lady Knights. Back to the action here, 8-2. Letran up by 6 points. With a 1 set apiece. We're currently now in set 3 as it's Padilla sending it across. That's too long. I'm talking about Padilla. She's one of the more younger players in this Letran squad. Born 2006. This time it's Letran once again. Oh, what an attack that time. Finding a crack on that wall was Colendra.
Colendra with that off the block hit. Finding the hands of Martinez. Kita niya medyo mababa yung kamay ni Martinez.
So Colendra with a chance to serve. And on the other side, itong Ravens, I think one of, or the youngest player in this roster is itong si Kirsten Chelsea David, although we haven't seen her in action yet. The one we've seen in action though, itong si Liam Linguay, born 2007. That's something. Ito namang, the oldest player here is Christine Miralles, born 1995. Kita pa naman yung gap, di ba?
Yes, makikita natin na meron din silang mga veterans sa loob, but they really have to maximize those players like Martinez and their lefty, Melgar, para makapag-contribute at makuha itong third set.
But apparently, itong si Christine Miralles was not in action. By the way, went to the Lyceum of the Philippines University. So another fellow LPU Lady Pirate na naman pala.
Viva Pirates.
So it's now 10-4. Itong si Martin ang magsaserve. She gets it across, but it's outside. Ito na naman tayo sa errors ng Letran, but let's see if the Ravens can capitalize.
As of now, meron silang 3 errors coming all from the service area.
10-5 now. The service. Oh, blocked that time by the Ravens was Letran. Meanwhile, Makilang, good attack. It's out of bounds.
Another down the line hit for Makilang. Nandun na sana si Martinez. Sobrang lakas na talaga ng atake ni Makilang.
11-5 now. Here comes the Ravens. The attack. And no good. Scattered ball. Vershao. The set. The attack again. She gets blocked. Makilang tries. But it's too long. Oh, it is inside. That ball was going so fast I couldn't keep up.
5 points now for Makilang. 4 attacks and 1 service ace. Makikita natin na isa siya sa pwede nating i-look forward for the upcoming seasons.
This time it's Isar. Vershao to Martinez. And Isar unable to get that ball. To make it 6-12. Itong Letran, medyo dumadami ulit ang kanilang errors. Maybe something Coach O has to look out for. But this time it's Vershao, a chance to serve. She pulls through. The set. Colendra. She got denied. But it seemed like an attack error.
Madalas binibigyan ni Tumayaw yung si Colendras. But again, committing an error.
This time, Makilang rising up for a hit.
Sharp cross-court hit from Makilang again. Wala pa ako gaano nakikita, Cho, na atake from their middle.
So again, perhaps sinasadya talaga ni Coach O.
Yes.
But
Baka
if
may plano talaga sila.
Magandang plano yan. As right now, they're leading by 3, or rather 6. Pero I'm curious, on the side of the Ravens, since alam naman nilang lagi silang sa side ng mga atake, bakit hindi kaya na-anticipate agad?
Baka sobrang lakas or hindi natin alam meron defense pattern or system ang meron ang Ravens.
Tignan natin yun, no? Again, Letran. Safe to say, sabi mo nga, baka malakas lang talaga yung palo.
Yes.
So maybe, pwedeng ibang angulo naman ang tignan ng Ravens. Total, nanalo naman sila ng set 1. It's not impossible for them to win this game. As it's 14-8 now. Itong Ravens naman ang kakasa ng service. That's Dagarat. She gets it across. Reception by Martin. The set by Tumayaw. Makilang attacking. She pulls.
Great adjustment sa ere. Grabe yung pag-twist ng kanyang mga shoulders. Nakikita mo, sobrang taas niya.
Makilang. This time Vershao sets it up. Miralles. No good on the attack. Liam Martin tries. Won't go. In the rally continuing. The set by Tumayaw. Martin once again. Not working. Vershao high toss. Helter Skelter. Miralles bails it out. Colendra attacks. And it is out.
Good rally for the both teams. Was good intention for Colendra and another error for the Letran Knights.
15-9 now. Slowly but surely, Letran nearing point 25. Colendra getting blocked. Ravens bailing it out. And this time it's Martin having bad intentions. She gets denied. Martin once again. Miralias receiving it. They try. And Verga. Unpredictable move coming from Enverga. And there you go, timeout called, 16-9. But first, let's take a look. And Verga surprising everybody with that sudden move. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here, 16-9. The Lady Knights up by 7. And now it's Padilla with service duties for them. She gets it across very sharply. The Ravens having a hard time setting up their offense. Tamayo sets it up. Martinez. Oh!
Off the block hit for Martin. Well distributed talaga ang bola ng Letran. But the defense pattern of the Ravens can control the attacks of Letran Knights.
But we have another timeout called by the Ravens, 17-9. They're down by 8 points, so we'll be back for more. We go back to the action, 17-9. Letran up by 8 points. We'll take another look on that swing coming from Martin. So now Letran with another chance to elevate that lead. Padilla gets it through sharply. Service ace.
Service ace from Padilla with the help of the net.
Talk about a sharp serve as Padilla gets it through again. Better shout the set. Martinez gets blocked. Access denied, says Colendra.
Good technique of Colendra for that block. Nakita niya, medyo dikit na yung bola sa net. And she was able to block that ball.
19-9. Padilla, service header. A substitution here for the Ravens. A familiar Renisa Milgar checks in. 19-10, Letran, 6 points away from set 3 victory. He gets it across. Oh! Unpredictable move from Tumayaw. Pero itong Ravens naka-recover. Meanwhile, Faith, kaya mo yan! 20-10. Letran scoring on that one.
Good dig by Faith. Ay.
Late in the response that time was Concepcion. And tama, great save by Faith.
Great setup for Tumayaw and Isar.
20-10. You know, may camera appearance. 20-10 again. Itong Letran, very near set victory. But let's see if they can pull through. Again, they have a habit of committing a lot of errors. Pero that one was far from an error.
Service ace from Flores.
And on timeout called right here by the Ravens. 21-10. Big time lead for the Letran Lady Knights. We'll be back for more.
Even if the Letran players looked all smiles, the vibe in the huddle was intense. Coach Oliver was fired up, especially towards his setters. He kept reminding them to talk more, read the defense, and execute the plays properly. He was also asking for more aggressiveness on the court. At one point, he kept tapping his head, signaling everyone to stay smart and avoid those split-second decisions that could cost them big. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for that report. And indeed, you know, I'm sure kahit masaya tignan yung mga players, intense ang environment nila when it comes to the huddles.
Yes, we all know Coach O is a professional coach and also a consultant for the Petrogas Angels.
Kita mo naman, I mean, hindi ko narinig yung sinasabi niya pero alam kong intense eh.
Yes, and alam natin na para sa players yon. And meron talaga silang task for this league.
Meanwhile, Letran finding a gap in that defense as they near point 25. They're 3 points away. Another look. Capitalizing on that one was number 9, introducing herself. That's Grayson Vergara. Rally continues. What a hit from Makilang. Pero tuloy-tuloy ang rally. The attack, Makilang again. 3 balls.
Grabe, in this set, Makilang has already 7 points.
We take another look. Again, great setup coming from Afgao. Ito namang si Makilang hindi pinaya ang kanyang teammate. Martin. It was a great serve. And it's an ace.
An ace coming from Martin, giving them the set point at this set.
So one more before they prevail in this set. All blocked that time. Good defense from Letran. The Ravens rushing. They bail it out. It's out of bounds, and there you have it. Set 3 belongs to the Lady Knights. 25-11. And the Lady Knights coming back in great fashion again. It was a close call for them during set 1, pero tinan mo naman, set 2, set 3 already belonged to them. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here for the fourth set. 25-11 was the score in the previous one. LETRAN, after losing the first set, coming back, winning the next two sets. And talk about again, composure coming from an NCAA caliber team.
Last set, Ravens was able to get their defense and first ball, but their attacks is quite off. But dito naman sa LETRAN side, you can see that they still have the errors though, pero nandun yung atake, yung bawi nila sa atake. And with that, they get that third set. Yan.
So perhaps the Ravens will have to be more aggressive. Of course, pwedeng maganda yung depensa mo eh. Pero syempre, offense also matters in volleyball. Kailangan kahit papano, you really push the ball to the other side with emphasis. So right now it's Vero Xiao serving on the side of the Ravens. She sends it to the other side. Tumaya, high set. The attack. Brago no good. A new face on the side of the Lady Knights. As that's an overpass. Over hit, rather.
That went wide for the opposite side of Ravens.
Vero Xiao high set. Miralles getting it to go. There was an error coming from LETRAN. Nevertheless, they'll get the point.
Medyo na-outbalance si Padilla with her block. That's why na net fault siya.
All tied up at 1. The Ravens looking to come back after that 2-set-in-a-row loss. Pero itong si Martin, pinapahirapan talagang buhay na itong Ravens.
Great setup by Tumayaw. Giving that confidence for Martin.
This time it's Padilla serving for the Lady Knights. She sends it across. Vero Xiao the set. Miralles too strong.
Another error for Ravens. Kanina nga sabi ko, Cho, they really have to make a setup para maka-atake sila ng maayos. Kasi nakukuha na nila yung first ball, but their problem now is their attacks.
And perhaps that's a result of the length of the game na rin, no? Kasi
Yes.
mahaba na rin to. Third set, actually fourth set na pala to. And, you know, these players could be running out of gas. So that's something, you know, they will have to figure out. Siguro coach's decision na rin yan kung papaikutin niya ba yung tao efficiently or will he, you know, use his main gunners. As Concepcion, great set. Lo Chavez getting denied. Vero Xiao, another denial. As the Ravens committing an error.
Blocking violation by Vero Xiao. We all know that she is on the back side of the court.
5-1. Great reception. Running hit. Point goes to the Ravens.
Soft tip from Melgar. They badly needed that.
Miralles will be the one to serve. Sends it across. Tumayao, high pass. Martin, not that time. Melgar bails it out. This time Tumayao to Martin again. Miralles recovers. Chavez, that's too strong.
Easy point for LETRAN Knights.
6-2 score, LETRAN up by 4. It's Brago serving. Sharp serve. Chupitea, no good. Good reception by Letran. Martin attacks. Domingo keeps it alive. To the other side, rally continuing. And Vershao unable to recover.
1-2 hit by Tumayaw.
Brago once again with a chance. Kita mo naman yung intensity kay Coach O.
You can see that every move ng player niya, meron siyang napapansin.
Kahit lamang pa sila ng 5.
Yes.
Kahit pa sila yung nanalo sa rally na yun. Pero pag tama yung ginawa mo, nakaupo lang, no? 7-2. I mean, that's the life of a coach and a player. As the Ravens overpass that one.
First technical timeout.
Timeout called right here, 8-2. Letran up by 6. Back to the action, 8-2. Letran up by 6 points. And a chance to close this one out once and for all.
Let's see now if they're going to maintain their lead.
Brago sends it through. Lo Chavez gets denied. Lo Chavez tries once again. That is short. Pero nakahanap pa ng butas.
With the help of the net, the Chavez with that attack.
Kumbaga, bato na, naging ginto pa para kay Lo Chavez. Right now, they're down by 5. But that's very manageable for them still early in the set. Martin, that is in.
Kahit hindi masyadong malakas, but nakita niya yung butas sa zone 6. And defense pattern again of the Raven is not established.
Martin gets it across. Chapitea. There's a violation on the side of Letran. So point goes to the Ravens. So this time it's Lo Chavez serving. Tumayaw the setup. Makilang. They get it through.
Good cross-court hit by Makilang. And also a net fault touch. Net fault called by the referee.
Ten to 4 now. It's Isar serving it. Long serve. The Chavez, no good. I'm sorry, that was Linguaje. Meanwhile, Vershao. Point goes to the Ravens.
Good attack by Chopitea.
Chopitea will be the one to serve the ball. They're up by 5. Martin, Tumayaw. The attack by Makilang. And that goes to the side of Letran. 11-5.
Favorite spot of Makilang. Down the line hit again. Parang familiar na yung nangyari na yun ah.
Again, the Letran Lady Knights really looking in that wing attacks. Meanwhile, unable to receive that properly was Zamudio. So that's one more point to the side of the Ravens. This time Tumayo the setup. Makilang once again. And the Ravens was able to recover, pero yun nga lang, composure matters. And Letran gaining another point.
Hindi na itawid ni Verosao ang third ball. But it was a good effort by their middle blocker.
12-6, Miralles pumalo. And that is in.
Go-to player of Verosao, Miralles, with that a quick attack. Sobrang effective talaga for them ang kanilang middle attackers.
Ulingguahe getting a service ace. Twelve to 8 now. Get it across, but that's too strong. So the lead has ballooned again to 5 points for Letran. Seems to be a wet spot again on the floor. It'll be Padilla serving in the side of Letran. Seems to be an issue. It is really raining very hard in Pasay City today. Nevertheless, our games will continue. That's out. A service ace rather. So Padilla getting it. And elevates the lead to 6 points for her squad.
Sobrang bihira makakuha ng service ace ang mga middles natin. And it's quite a background for all the volleyball players out there na parang kaya ng mga middle blockers, middle spikers na makapag-service ace.
14-8 now. Letran, it's their turn to serve. Or another third rather for them to serve. But wait, there's a timeout called. 14-8. We'll be back for more. Back to the action here. Still in our fourth set, I'm sorry. 2-1. Letran up by 6 points. Medyo matagal-tagal na break yun, pero kita naman natin, parang hindi man lang kinalawang na unti. As Letran gets a 1 point.
Parang di nilalamig si Martin sa kanyang palo.
Parang di natuyo ng pawis, no? Lagi ba lang ng tali ng buhok? Ganun pa rin. 15-8. 7-point lead for Letran. 10 points away from the victory. That is too long. So it's 15-9 now. Miralles will be the one to serve this sequence. Long serve. Here comes the Ravens. Good defense on their part. But a point will be given to the Ravens after a violation.
Net fault violation by Brago.
So another error on the side of Letran. Meanwhile, let's see if they can redeem themselves. And they do.
Back-to-back hit from Martin.
(16-10). 6-point lead for Letran now. And we'll be back for more action. Back to the action here, 16-10 Letran. Slowly but surely nearing point 25. Ito namang Ravens. They have to really capitalize on the errors nitong Letran. This time, Lo Chavez hit the net. Here comes Letran. Martin. Domingo saves it. And this time, Melgar finding a gap in that Letran defense.
Finding that energy at this set. Tignan natin kung magandang epekto ba sa kanila ang break.
Hopefully it is. Pero ngayon, napakaganda naman ng capitalization na yun. Chopetea, hindi nagsayang ng oras.
Credit to the serve of Melgar. Targeting the libero.
Martin receives it. High pass. Tumayaw immediately sent it back over. Letran once again with a chance. Tumayaw the set. Martin gets it through.
Finding that hands of the setter.
Let's take a look one more time. Martin, another day in the office for her. Here comes Nazel Martin again. A service for her.
Service by number 7, Martin.
And that's a service header on the side of Letran.
Mali yung hagis ni Martin sa kanyang service, kaya hindi niya napasok ang kanyang serve.
Slowly but surely itong Ravens bumabawi din. Only a 4-point lead now for Letran. Yap, the high toss. Isar sending it packing.
Long cross-court hit by Isar. Activating their middles at this point.
Siguro gusto na talaga nilang tapusin to. So Coach O said, kung saan man bukas, doon na lang. As Chavez, good save by Isar. Rally continues. Chavez again. Sorry, that was Linguaje. At this time, Makilang. No good. Oh, Verosao getting blocked. Good defense coming from Letran.
Overpass by the libero. Domingo. Nahirapan iset ni Verosao.
So Isar will be the one to serve. Good reception. Linguaje tries. That is too strong.
Linguaje committing an error.
Substitution.
20 points now for Letran. They're 5 points away from the victory. Let's see if they can pull this one off. Isar again. And that is out.
Service error. Points by Ravens.
Too strong for Isar.
But this time it's Chopitea. What a chance. Again, first set won by the Ravens. And then the next two sets, Letran really just redeeming themselves after that loss. After that close loss. Letran now, the late night attack. And that is in.
I love the energy of the Letran Knights. Wanted this to end the set.
It was Afgao hitting it. So to end it once and for all.
Score 21 Letran, 14 Ravens.
21-14 now. Letran with a chance. Princess Tumayao sends it across. The Ravens looking for an attack. Off spin that time. Makilang gets blocked. And Letran recovers. Concepcion keeps it alive. Bailout dish. Tumayao the set. Padilla. No good on the tip. Makilang again. And they find a crack on that Ravens wall.
Again, Makilang with her down the line hit. Taking advantage of the setter on the other side of the court.
Pero yun lang. Not able to receive it that time was Cruz. Service ace for Princess Tumayao. As they're 2 points away from the victory. With a 3-14. Again, Tumaya will be the one tasked to serve this ball. Panangin back in the game for Letran. High set. Oh, Takarat getting denied. And the Ravens getting a point.
Good intention by the setter of Ravens. It was Sarte.
And this time, Raven Sarte will send it to the other side. The set by Tumayao. The attack by Brago. She got denied. Tumayao once again. Brago will try again. And she will hit. 24-15.
Match point by Letran.
Giving the second chance
Score 21
by Tumayao.
Ravens.
Second attempt for her attack. Giving that down the line hit.
The Ravens able to hit. 24-16.
Points by Ravens. 16 by Ravens, 24 by LETRAN.
24-16. The Ravens with a chance, but they're on a close call. Tomayaw, the attack, and there you have it. The LETRAN Lady Knights win this set and win this match 3-1. And what a comeback and redemption for the Lady Knights. After losing set 1, they go out and beat their opponents in the next 3 sets.
Yes, nakikita natin, LETRAN Knights was able to limit their errors and convert it into attacks. Ito naman sa Ravens, marami pa tayong makikitang adjustments sa next few games nila.
And there you have it. Once again, congratulations to the LETRAN Lady Knights, proving why they are an NCAA caliber team. But on the other side, of course, still props for the Ravens. Still only their first game, kaya naman, still a lot of chances for them to bounce back. But for now, LETRAN will get the last laugh in this battle. Another look. Set 1, it was a very close call, 20-15. But on set 2 and set 3, actually set 4 din, medyo malayo na talaga yung lamang.
Yes. Kita natin, grabe yung efforts ng bawat isa. And nakita natin sobrang daming substitutions na nangyari sa LETRAN side.
And the Ravens will have to recalibrate and re-strategize for their next battles. Hindi rin biro yung mga iba nilang pwedeng makalaban dito sa NDSL. But then again, LETRAN will go home with a smile for now. But what an opening day for this NDSL volleyball series. Sa ngayon, we'll turn it over to Andrea Veloso for our best player of the game interview.
Thanks, Cholo. Our best player of the game, none other than Berenice Colendra of LETRAN. Congratulations, Berenice. Errors was a huge factor during that first set loss, pero you managed to stay composed and contribute consistently. Talk about that composure.
Siguro lagi lang kami nire-remind ni Coach O na wag laging mawala sa focus kahit na dapat laging tama yung ginagawa niya.
Itong lineup nyo ngayon dito sa NDSL, puro rookies, sophomores. Ano ba yung nilulook forward mo in the upcoming game days?
Nilook forward ko lang po is yung mga learnings na makukuha namin dito, lalo mga exposure and experiences.
May gusto kong pasalamatan o batian?
Pinapasalamatan ko po ang buong LETRAN community and yung teammates and coaches ko po and sa lahat na sumusuporta sa amin. Thank you po.
Congratulations and of course to LETRAN. Back to you, Cholo.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And that is our best player of the game. That is Berenice Colendra, helping her team gain the W in our opening day of the NDSL Volleyball Series. And before we say goodbye, first let's take a look at our game schedule for this Friday, July 11. 3 games, 2 in the men's division and 1 last in the women's division. First go in between UST and I believe that is the Perpetual Help, of course, representing Quinto Tires. Our second game, Ateneo and Signal. Well, that should be a good one. And last but not the least, in the women's division, AFP and DHTSI will go at it. So make sure to stay tuned. We have our live streams and our Facebook and YouTube pages. And there you have it. Thank you very much for tuning in. For my partner, Faith De Guzman, our courtside reporter, Miss Andrea Veloso. My name is Cholo Pangilinan, and this is once again the National Developmental Sports League Volleyball Series.